A very good afternoon to all. Thank you for being here. Welcome to our weekly Tally CA Connect. Today's topic of discussion is a unique one, that is Tally or GRC partner. I'm sure this is the first time we are doing this session on our CA Connect. Our expert for today is CA Atul Gupta. I'm sure people here are already familiar with you. I would like to add a brief introduction. CA Atul Gupta is a practicing chartered accountant with over 25 years of experience. He has an expertise in Tally CBS implementation for various industries and system audit for listed NBSE and bank. He has been a DISA faculty since the year 2003 and delivered various lectures for more than 150,000 man hours on the subject. He has taken numerous CPE sessions as well all over India, and he has conducted various training for companies on various aspects of internal control, auditing, accounting, finance. Not to mention, CA Atul Gupta is also a Tally evangelist. We are proud. Thank you, sir, for taking out time from your very busy schedule. Over to you.
Okay, so thank you, Komal. Thanks for these kind words. Good afternoon to all. Now, see, this session which I had in my mind, I have been trying to imagine this session out since quite long because there's a background to this session. So let me bring that background, and then I learned few things while preparing for this session. So I'll share that. I love to have question answer during the session. So I'll request all participants to ask any questions during the session itself. Please don't wait for the end of the session, and we'll keep the interaction on. So see, the idea about creating this session, I basically see we miss most of you as you are here. So I won't first my introduction is there, but then to keep my interaction good with you, I'll request you, all of you who are here, please put your name. I see few chartered accountants, few are entrepreneurs. So I understand most of you are already using Tally. That is clear to me. What I basically want from you is whether you are using Tally for your business in terms of your own business you have, or like probably few CAs who have joined, they would be using Tally for providing services to their clients. So I'll request you, all of you, to put your name, your usage of Tally, and city, town across India you come from. So that will make the interaction good and lively. So we have Vijanta Desai. Please put your name. Please put your the usage of Tally you have, how you're using Tally. So there is a very important background to the session. So I want to share that, how I wanted things to be. I've tried to make upside down. Okay, so Ashok Aroraja is from Kanpur. Yes. So Kanpur, that famous dhaba across the railway station, I've had, I think Jagdamba dhaba, if I'm saying correctly, Ashok ji. So I did had my dinner once there. Good. So Ashok ji is using Prime. Good. So more people, please put your name, your usage of Tally, and the city, town you come from across India. Yeah. Okay, good. So Atul is from Mumbai and more specifically using for their clients. Then, yeah, Jai Shri Ram Dhaba Ashok. Thank you. Srinivas Jani is from Jamnagar. Good, Srinivas. So I don't know whether many of people know here. There is a BM Vyasji. He sells kachori, dry fruit kachori, and I don't know whether you know the rate of that kachori, dry fruit kachori. It is 1400 rupees per kg. Okay, I've been to Jamnagar. Good. The Nagma from Sonipat. You are learning Tally, Nagma. Great. Pune. Very good. So Vijanta is from Pune. Good. So we have this Kani bakery selling Shrewsbury biscuit and Chitle Bandhu, Bakarwadi, Dagdu Halwai, the Laddu. Good. Swarna is from Odisha. Which city, Swarna, in Odisha? BK Garg is from Delhi. Yeah, Srinivas is using Katak. Yes, good. Famous for silverware. Fantastic. And I think that is a location where a lot of cricket matches is also played. Good. Okay. Now, Vinay is from Kolkata. Vinay is a Tally partner. Good, Vinay. Fantastic. So great to have all of you. Uh, Gandhidham. Deepak Bhai is from Gandhidham. Good, Deepak Bhai. I've been to Gandhidham, that Behrampur, Odisha. Good, Lalit. Fantastic. Sanjay has raised hand. Sanjay, put your point in the chat box itself. Okay. Now, this session, so see, this session has a background. Uh, Rakesh is from Ajamgarh, that is UP. Great. I don't know whether you have elections today. There is voting in Western UP. Okay. So, Rupa Devi from Karnataka. Which city, town from Karnataka, Rupa Devi, you are from? Okay. So now see, first I want to create a background to the session. See, Tally I've been using since last more than 20 years. We had someone saying 14, 15 years. So we are all users of Tally since reasonably long period. Now, over the period of time, my association with my own institute, I realized that Tally has been building like creating itself brick by brick. So it started from the bottom and now we all see how big Tally has become. Now this session is basically creating a reverse process to that. Generally, there are two words that we may use, a concept of bottom up. So personally, I feel that Tally built itself from bottom and then went to the top. This session is a top-down approach to the whole process, what we are looking at. So when I say Tally your GRC partner, our visualization is from top and then we go to the bottom because we are all long-term Tally users. So generally our understanding is the way we know Tally from bottom and then we go upscale it. But this session is a reverse process. Okay, Kalburgi district, Rupa Devi, thank you. Dinesh is from Mumbai. Fantastic. Now, so before we go ahead, I want to have a feel with you about what exactly we are going to talk about. So please don't take it as a question answer session. Just take it as a learning session. So whatever I ask you, there is always going to be background, exactly how I want you to perceive things. So suppose I say GRC. So I am not told what GRC is in the whole session. So I'll request people to help us all of out. If you can just create a full form of this acronym GRC. So those who know, please type. You can always guess it out. Google can also help you out. So I request all of you to put your understanding of the word GRC, how you visualize the word. What is the full form of the word GRC? Please put it in the chat box. So it's a learning thing. I understand it's not questioning anyone's intelligence, but it's basically trying to learn exactly how we are going to proceed ahead. Okay. So just good. Gateview compliance. Great. That is Atul. Fantastic. So more updates, at least one more feedback that will allow me to take this session ahead. Good. Okay. Now please understand. So let me do it for all of us. Yeah. So Komal, if you have e-chocolates, our first e-chocolate, I did request in the previous session also, Tally needs to create a e-memento. So we give this e-memento to Deepa Kumar, governance, risk and compliance. Fantastic. Thank you. So Tally, your GRC partner. Now I took some time to prepare this session. So while I was preparing for this session, I realized that there are ERP companies who have got a separate module for GRC. Now, please understand what does it mean. So before we go to the next slide, I need to clear the basic idea. So let us continue with this governance, risk and compliance. So please understand the whole session flows from top and then goes to the bottom of it. So you are basically looking at this session from a top management's perspective. Please understand whatever we are looking at is at this session is from top management perspective. So the whole idea about this session was I wanted this visualization to be created. Like Komal said that probably this could be first among a series of sessions that are going to be held on this word GRC itself. So let me bring the intensity of the word of exactly what GRC is and why it has become so important. And while preparing for the session, I realized that many big ERP companies have a separate module. They call the module as ERP, name of the ERP, and GRC compliance or GRC module. So their module is ERP GRC. That means that word is very, very, very important. Today, Tally has means we cannot count the number of users Tally has. Most of the Tally users, maybe small, medium enterprises, large, being a Tally evangelist has been a privilege. Over a period of time, I realized that big companies are also using Tally. And as companies grow bigger, uh, Tally needs to ensure that the needs of the bigger clients are set right. So how you set right as you grow in business, as your business organization is structured, you go into corporate setup, then this issue becomes very, very, very important. Governance, risk, and compliance. So I'm bringing the issue to all of you so that we can go ahead. So we'll keep a lot of discussion. See, today's session is focused on helping all of us understand the concept behind these three words: governance, risk, and compliance. What I have done, the major part of the session is this concept understanding. Please ask as many questions as you can. The balance part of the I've brought some live examples. And because see, what we basically want is that the large corporates who feel, or if they feel that their GRC compliance cannot be done through Tally, we want to educate those people. We want to tell those people, no, this is possible within Tally. Some conditions, some necessity configurations have to be created. Lot of these compliances that you seek from your system can be incorporated in Tally itself. So the core of the session is trying to gain understanding of the word governance, risk, and compliance. Let us go ahead. Ask as many questions as you feel in between the session. Now, it's a standard disclosure. So see, basically the session has two parts only. Part one is the core concept, the idea. When I say GRC, please understand, uh, as Kumal told, that I'm associated with our institute also as a faculty and author. So our institute has a post-qualification course by the name DISA, Information System Auditor. So right now, institute is running DISA version 3. So we are DISA 3.0. When DISA 2.0 was there, I had the privilege of authoring a module for okay, so Mukesh has raised an issue. Is that issue with others also? Is voice not clear? So if it is with other, then we'll make some changes. If it is clear, say clear. It's clear. So Mukesh, the problem you have to look at your end. Re-login. Most of the people are showing clear, so please take it at your end. Thank you, Mukesh, for the update. It's a very good update. Okay. Now, so I was on that DISA. So when right now we are in DISA 3.0 for chartered accountants. When we had a previous version 2.0, so I had the privilege of authoring a module by the name Business Application Software Audit. And I had to create a database for members to audit. And I did it on Tally itself. So my association with Tally is very deep into it. Now, when we created that module, when I learned that being part of a great association, so over a period of time, I realized that there are few things that need a different view. And that view is what we are going to create today in terms of when we talk of governance, risk, and compliance. So please ask your questions. As many questions as you ask, it is going to be a very helping thing. And basically, my idea is to create a sellability to increase the marketability of the product per se, as it's a very good product. But what companies or business organizations, they become companies, incorporated entities, then they start thinking about moving out, getting an ERP implemented. So that process can be set right, can be improved upon. You can educate. I see users of Tally also, and I see practitioners of Tally also. So those who are using Tally for their client, I call them Tally practitioners, and those who are using Tally for their own self, I call them Tally users. So for both Tally users and Tally practitioners, this has to be a fundamental learning thing, exactly how we allow our accounting system to create compliance for larger things, new things. As we grow in business, how that compliance can be brought within our own system. So let us start with these words. So session basically in two parts: core concept of Tally and how you can core concept of GRC and how you can do GRC compliance within Tally itself. We'll have a live session, something I like to share live also, but I understand because most of you are very good users of Tally, so that live is not needed. The basic idea has to be created, that how you are going to ensure this compliance. Before we go ahead, I want to talk about, okay, let us go to the next slide and then we'll talk about that. So core concept of governance, risk, and compliance. Three words: governance, risk, and compliance. So this slide will expend lot of time on this one slide. So we'll do. Great, Atul. Thank you. So what we'll do, let us do the terminology. What I'll do, we want this session to be interactive. So I'll first define simple definition of the words, and then we'll have a good question answer on the words itself. So you have to choose. Okay, so let us first define. Now see, governance means what? I need to talk about some law, like Companies Act. We have Information Technology Act. Now within Companies Act, there is a statutory mandate to the top management, directors of the company, that many of you must be knowing a word that is used in reference to companies called as DRS, Directors Responsibility Statement. So let that be a first question, because we have chartered accountants here as a team and we have users also. Those who know about directors responsibility, I'll request you to please write in the chat one responsibility that is part of DRS, Directors Responsibility Statement. Please put the same in the chat box. One responsibility that you know is part of Directors Responsibility, please put the same in the chat box. What they are responsible for. Time, fantastic, Srinivas. That takes, okay. So Komal, the next chocolate memento has to go to Srinivas. Great. So timely compliance is fantastic. The best part is Srinivas has used the word timely, because ideally people would have said compliances, but the best is timely. Very good. One more input on what you remember. Yeah, great, Swarna. So Swarna also need to be given a memento. That is accounts as per accounting principles and practices. Fantastic. So that does my job. Now please understand that directors going concern. Fantastic. Simta, very good. When directors are going to comment on, say, let us take timely compliances, let us take accounting standard, let us take going concern. I'm merging going concern and accounting standard because accounting standard also have the concept of assumption of going concern. So I'm bringing the two together. Now, so this is director's responsibility. What is it? Safeguarding of assets, ensuring proper compliance with policies, procedure, ensuring timely legal compliance, ensuring timely preparation of accounts, ensuring safeguarding of assets. These are compliances that the directors are supposed to do. Now, what is the issue? Issue is that today, if this is business and this is technology, some 10 years, 15 years back, so business was continuing and technology used to support from bottom or from back. Today, business and technology is not a back-end, front-end issue. They are integrated. The level of integration of technology to business is so high that when I say compliances, when I say director's responsibility statement, I cannot imagine director's responsibility statement without ensuring the compliance is part of my system. I need to ensure that the compliance is incorporated in my system. That idea that whatever compliances are there, whatever governance issues are there, they are incorporated as a part of your accounting system, your ERP system. That idea is important. So today, the fundamental change that has come is business and technology are tightly integrated. They merge into each other. So whatever you have to do, you cannot sit in a separate location for business and separate location for technology and start imagining. No, not possible. That is this whole idea about directors' responsibility, directors' issues is what governance creates. So governance is about how companies responding to this responsibility, how they create policies, how they create procedures, how they create a strategic thinking in their system. That is what is governance about. First. Second, risk. So I'm writing a word in the to make it user oriented. I'm writing a word in the chat box. You say whether this is a risk or not. Let us see. MCA circular, Tally has been doing a lot on this audit trail compliance. Okay. So I've read audit trail, MCA has issued a circular. There is a non-compliance. In my accountings, yes, it is a risk. Very good. Okay, good. So it's a risk. So we realize that it is a risk. Now, when you say risk, let me write one more word. Will the risk will have impact? Say yes or no. Yes, that is. So see how we are learning it. What we are basically talking about, the basic simple definition of the concept of governance, that definition converted to the idea about risk. And now because risk is going to have impact, as a director, please understand, as a director, do director needs to ensure compliance? You have to say yes or no. Do director have to say yes? All three lines are joined. So there's an idea about governance, there's an idea about risk, and there is an idea about compliance. And now we all understand that this is what has to be ensured, done by, in our example, director, and you can say top management. Please carry this. This is exactly the fundamental theme of today's session. What we are basically doing, we are looking from the top and going to the bottom. This idea has to be dropped from top to bottom. Please understand. Then I'll request you to allow me to transgress, to move some, because I understand not all of us are chartered accountants. I understand that and I have deep respect for that. But just for the sake of it, because I see many chartered accountants have joined. So only for the sake of it, allow me to bring an issue that I'll request chartered accountants to kindly please do respond to that. Let me bring that issue. Now, when you talk of director's responsibility statement, when you talk about the risk that may be there due to non-compliance, when you say that the compliance has to be ensured, then another word I need to bring to you is internal financial controls. Now you have to say, is it top management's responsibility to implement internal financial controls? Say yes or no. Top management's responsibility. Srinivas. Yes, Srinivas. Probably you wanted to say yes. It is yes. Yes. We have Pandian. Yes. Deepa. Yes. So now let us bring all these words together and then I'll ask that very important question. So internal financial controls are part of management's responsibility. Director's responsibility statement governs the creates the governance framework. If you are not complying, it creates a risk. You could have punitive ideas, and you need to ensure compliance because the risk is going to have impact. Now, the next question is, all these words that we are talking about. Allow me to write questions because that adds to the interaction. You have to say yes or no. Is it necessary that accounting system ensure these compliances? Say yes, no. Yes, it has to ensure. Now, if this word is clear to you, yes, your accounting system has to ensure compliance. Now, this question is more specifically to auditee can also answer if they know it, but more specifically to chartered accountants who are auditors. It's very tightly knit question, but let us learn from this question. Suppose you're auditing and you find that there are non-compliances in terms of governance issues, and those non-compliances will be documented where? In system. I want you to tell which auditing standard you are going to report this to the management. There are non-compliances, governance issues not there, controls are not there in the accounting system. Your auditor, which auditing standard will help you communicate this to the top management? Name the standard. Very specific to members, but just for the sake of it, bringing the idea to all of us. We have chartered accountants here as a part of our attending delegates. Yeah, let me do it then. Those members, they can carry this. We all know it. SA 260, communicating with those charged with governance. 265, deficiencies in internal control. What we are basically talking about, please understand. What basically we are talking about is that if the governance issues are not complied with, you as a practicing auditor is going to report this to top management. Now, some set of questions. So to all the questions, there are three possible answers. You have to select out of these three words. Each question will have answer as G, R, or C. Governance, risk, or compliance. Okay. Yes. So governance, risk, and compliance. Okay. Now I'll be asking a question. So you will have to give an answer. So you have to say that this aspect is a governance aspect, a risk aspect, or a compliance aspect. Okay, let us do it. Yeah, Sneha, now you answer to this question. Negative cash balance. Risk, okay. Yes, Atul took the liberty of saying, sir, it is risk as well as compliance. Great. Thank you, Atul. Like it also says risk. Great. Now, let us do it. Let us do this more practically. Okay. We are all Tally users. Okay, so let me put this question. See, when you are passing a cash payment voucher and the cash balance is going to go negative. So what happens when the cash balance is going to go negative? Does Tally give a warning? Yes, Srinivas, that is last part. Yes, it gives warning and cash balance is in red color. Great, Atul. Tally has a feature built into it. So it is telling you that negative cash is not a possibility. Yeah, Ashok, we'll come to that. Don't worry. I want to, yes, because I have shared a risk, I'll go to the impact also. We'll come to Ashok. Yes, thank you. So it has a negative cash balance. Now, you know, to Tally users and Tally practitioner. Yes, Atul. Yes. Coming to all these issues. So now this aspect is to Tally user and Tally practitioners. You know, all your locations where you are working, there is a job available. There is a job available. I'm typing the job profile. Please say yes, no. Is it available? Then I'll bring the issue of negative cash. All users and all practitioners of Tally, there's a job availability. I'll tell you what it is. Please say yes or no. You all need good accountants? Yes, I also need good accountant. No one knows who's a good accountant, but we all need a good accountant. Now with this background, see this negative cash, what impact it is creating. You know, this date, 1st July 2017, has been a fundamental redefining date in terms of accounting profession. This was the date when GST was brought. We all know the way GST was rolled out. Tally has been doing phenomenal job on GST per se. Now, what happened after this? See, I consider this 1st July 2017 from a nation perspective, a phenomenal revolution, keeping our focus narrow only on accountants. So this has fundamentally revolutionized the accounting profession, GST. We all know that those accountants who did some hard work, those who learned about GST, they actually made good in life. They made very good. But because the requirement of good accountants was, it went skyrocketed, there was a very high attrition rate to accounting profession. Every entity good accountant comes, and within next 3 months, 6 months, he leaves because he gets a better paying job. So attrition rate has been phenomenal. It still exists. Now see what is happening. The trouble is the new accountant. New accountant means the recent joining. He joins a company. The income tax assessments are done generally after 1 year, 2 year of filing of return. Now this new accountant who has joined today, no, he's very, very angry. You know, he's angry with whom? The previous accountant. Because audit was completed by the previous accountant. Now he is gone. Now the assessment has to be done by the new accountant. He's so angry. You know, today we have this concept of faceless assessment. The assessing officer, AO, sends a notice in respective section of income tax 143, 2, 143, 3, whatever is the section. He sends a notice to the assessee to present the books of account. Now, this new accountant is already very angry that the previous accountant got the audit done and now he has to prepare all the assessment papers. This new accountant, Tally has a feature, negative cash balance, exception report, we all know. So I'll not be talking about those things which we already know. Okay. So Tally had this feature. The new accountant, ideally she must check the negative cash balance, but then because he is so angry, he does not check the previous cash book, and the cash book is submitted in PDF online to the AO. भेज दी आपने कैश बुक, सबमिट कर दी असेसिंग ऑफिसर को. असेसिंग assessing officer has a authorized valid cash book that you have submitted. It is sent by you and it shows a negative cash balance. Now to practicing Tally practitioners, what is the first action AO will take? That will bring to Ashok's point that he was making. What is the first thing that the AO will do when he sees a negative cash balance? We are analyzing the impact of this thing. First thing probably the AO would like to do is, now Ashokji, you can put your point again. Ashokji said rejection of books. No. There is a section in income tax 69C, unexplained expenditure. See, your cash book is saying, no, Atul, not necessary. Rejection can be a second step. First step is what AO might do, add that much negative cash to your income. Hidden income. Yes, Vinay, thank you. So governance, risk, compliance, and if anything that has risk, it is going to have impact. So we only talked about, see, please understand, I've only talked about one aspect, negative cash balance. Okay, let us do another one. Now you have to, the answer is same, GRC, negative stock. Risk and governance. Okay. Risk, good. A very good response. Fantastic. Risk and governance, Vijanta, great. Even, yes. Very good, Atul. Same for auditor can be referred to institute. See, for those who are from non-chartered accountancy base, what Atul is saying, that auditor who signed a audited balance sheet where there was a negative cash balance, so it can be held as grossly negligent in performing his or her duties. Yeah. Yes. Yes, yes, Vinay, great. So now we are on the second half. See, Now you realize the point that negative cash balance we know since long. The point that I wanted to make was that let us not start looking negative cash balance from bottom. Let us start looking cash balance from top, negative cash balance, the impact it is going to have. Now the next one, just creating that thought process of why this GRC as an idea has to be a top-down thing. Negative stock. Let you comment. Someone said risk. Someone said governance. Two people said risk. Negative stock. It is a risk. Absolutely. It is undefined risk. Please understand, negative stock means there is no negative stock direct if entity. See, let me put it here. Entities books are showing negative stock. It's a compliance is a word we are reading. It is a directly reportable frame in Caro. There is a point there, internal control systems, whether they are proper or not. Negative stock is indication that the control systems are not proper. Yes, unaccounted purchases. Yes, everything has to be taken care of. Absolutely. You report to top management, those charged with governance, deficiency of internal control, and negative stock being there. So see, this is the aspect you are looking from auditor or reporter. Let us look from the aspect of top management. Negative stock means what? Why top management has to be worried? Because it means there is no control first. Second, the chance of asset defalcation is so high because negative stock you just cannot track. कितना चोरी हो गया पता ही नहीं चलेगा. So that impact is unimaginable. Governance, risk, and compliance. Last, before we go to the next slide. Okay. See, I'm intentionally bringing issues which are part of Tally itself. Okay. So this one is also from Tally. Again, you have to say governance, risk, or compliance issue. GRC is the option. This has a one answer only. Please understand this has only one answer. Either R, G, or C. Not taking backup. Good. So your answer allows me to discuss it. Let me do it. No slide change, Sunny. Yeah, it is there only. It will be changed. Don't worry. We are not there to change slide. We are basically, Sunny, today's session is the idea about the concept of these words. Once you realize the concept, then the delivery will come. Okay, now. Okay, so many of you have said risk, but there was one answer of governance. I'm improving my question. Please understand, I'm improving my question. Okay, that will create the idea behind what we are talking about. Okay, let me put it in words. Company has a backup policy, but no one is taking backup. Is it governance, risk, or compliance issue? Compliance. People are not governance because company already has a policy. It's more of a compliance risk issue. Let me improve the question. Let me improve. No backup policy and no backup taken. What is it? Governance, risk, or compliance? Yes, governance, Vinay. Fantastic. No. It's a governance issue. Top management has not defined. Okay. So see the sharp difference between the same issue. The perspective changes. If there is no policy, no compliance, it's a governance issue. If there is a policy, no compliance, it's a risk and compliance issue. Non-compliance will create risk. Risk is going to have impact. You need to have compliance. That is what you need to understand. That is exactly that we need to understand when I say governance, risk, and compliance. Okay, now we'll change the slide. Any confusion on these three words? You can ask a reverse question. You can ask me, sir, You can say, you can ask and let all answer whether it is GRC issue, like that. Okay. Now we are going to the definitions after having discussed it. So let us read the structured definitions. Okay. So governance is combination of processes, structures implemented by board to inform, direct, manage, monitor the activities of the organization to achieving its objectives. The system by which organizations are directed and controlled, these are governance things. Governance system typically refers to all the means and mechanisms that will enable multiple stakeholders in an enterprise to have an organized mechanism for evaluating options, setting direction, monitoring compliance and performance in order to satisfy the objectives. Let us take this backup as an example. Because you are all Tally users, so we are all taking backup. So for a better understanding, I am asking this question. So please answer this. Okay. See, I understand you all take backup. So I'm clear. So I'm not asking the question. I'm asking the second question. Okay. You take backup. So do you take online or offline backup? So you can say, oh, on and off. We all take backup. We all say yes. Smita, yeah, both. Okay. Deepa says offline. Good, good. Simta also says offline. Vinay both. So Vinay gets the next e-memento because we must always have two backup techniques, one offline, one online. Now to those who are saying offline, then I'll bring the issue. See how we learn. Tally has a backup option. Okay. Online Nagma, good. Now, those who said offline, okay. Now this one. Again, it's a good question to answer. Then we'll bring that to the slide. What is the frequency of your backup? Daily, weekly, monthly, or need-based? You can say D, W, M, N, B. Daily, great. Weekly, Simta, good. Monthly, Pandian says monthly, good. That is good. See, you are a very good assembly of good Punyam, monthly, good. Sneha. Sneha says why? That is yearly, Sneha. That is bad. You don't take backup yearly. Weekly, Ashok, good. Now I am so privileged to have you all as a batch because I have been asking this question to multiple locations, multiple batches, multiple places. Always I found 50% of all answers I got in other batches was, and here need-based is 0. That means, see, that is what, when you have good systems, backup per se is an option already provided in Tally that you are all using very well. So it's a good thing that we are all doing. Okay. Now, so need-based, I used to get at least 50% of all answers would be need-based, but none here. That means you are all using Tally very well. That is good. That helps all learn that if a good feature is there, simple to use, trained properly, people will mandatorily use it. That's now one last question on this one, and then I'll go to the slide again. So those who take backup offline, you'll be taking on a media. So I'm giving an option. Hard disk, pen drive, other media. Those who take offline, you'll be taking on a media, pen drive, hard disk. Hard disk, good. Poonam, Simta, Srinivas, hard disk, great. Atul is pen drive, good. Fantastic. Last question. Pandian is also, Ashok is also pen drive, Pandian is hard drive, good. Now the last question. The media, pen drive, hard disk, or any other media on which you take backup, you keep it physically. So where you keep it physically? Office, home, or third location. You can say OHTL. Simta says office. Good. Office, my God. Third location. Deepa says office and home. Good. Vinay says third location. Good. So, Kumal, This e-chocolate, e-memento will go to Vinay, third location. Please understand, we must not keep off backup in office because God forbid, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए, पर ईश्वर है, तूफान आ सकता है, आग लग सकती है, चोरी हो सकती है. There could be a disaster, a storm, a fire, a theft. So if fire theft occurs, your main data will also go and backup will go. So backup has to be always at a third party location. Now, having talked about this, let me read that very important line from this slide. Let me read it. A governance system typically refers to all means and mechanism. So what we discussed, there is a type of backup that is technical, so I'm not bringing that, but backup you all understand. At least the criticalities I created, you understand. So that is all means and mechanism. So you could have daily backup, weekly backup, monthly backup, need-based, yearly. So what you choose, so that has to be in my policy. Second, I can have offline backup, online backup, what I choose. So that can be part of my policy. Like when I said both, preferred is always both. Then you could have backup when offline, you could have on hard disk, pen drive, other media, again part of your policy. And when you have backup, you need to keep backup at a third party location ideally, or at least not in the office, at your home. Now let us read. A governance system typically refers to all means and mechanism that we enable multiple stakeholders in enterprise to have an organized mechanism for evaluating options. So we evaluated all the options, setting direction. What we want to do, we are clear. So the best is daily backup, best is both side, online, offline, both backup. Best is either hard disk or pen drive, and keep it at a third party location. So that is what you create in a governance framework. I'm keeping it very simple. See, governance per se is a big topic. It's a whole module in our post-qualification course, DSA, but I'm keeping it simple so that our understanding builds on it. Once we understand simply, then complications will bring on later sessions. So governance is an overarching framework into which many tools and techniques and codes of best practices can fit. Example include Code of Corporate Governance and Financial Reporting Standards. You already said that. When I talked about, someone said standard compliance, so it is there. So it's part of our mind. We are framing it properly. So that is first word, governance. Risk. Possibility of something dangerous, unpleasant happening. A situation that could be dangerous or have a bad result is a risk. Risk is defined as a probability of event and consequences. Examples, risk in terms of an enterprise does not exist alone, but always read along with risk management. Yes, please understand, when we talk risk, we'll always talk in terms of risk management, that is mitigating the impact of risk. It could be anything. Okay, so data crash, natural disaster, this conflict of interest I've added. There has been a background to that. You know, this recent banking fraud, what fraud has been reported, the latest banking fraud. I learned about it, so I thought, let me bring this also as a risk. The latest banking fraud, we must have read. Bharat ka sabse bada banking fraud, headline aa raha hai. Please name the company. Yeah. Thank you, Deepa. The forensic auditor who did the audit, he found, yes, good. Thank you, Srinivas. He found lot of transactions with related party. Conflict of interest itself is a risk. So I brought that point just to highlight that idea that that is also a risk. Compliances. So compliances include adhering to rules, policies, standards, laws set forth by industry, government agencies. Failing to do so could cost organization, poor performance, mistake, fine, penalty, lawsuit. Regulatory compliance will cover external laws, regulation, industry standards that may apply. Yes, like we have all been reading this Reserve Bank mandate. Yeah, the latest is this one. Everyone is for this. crypto. Before this, the present budget was presented 6 months before crypto, when it was like, I'm sharing this with permission. There was an advertisement by one of these crypto app. So you must have heard that advertisement, but I laughed loud when I heard that advertisement. That advertisement ran like this: 100 रुपए, I'll do the English once I do the Hindi. 100 रुपए में 2 अमरूद नहीं आते हैं, क्रिप्टो खरीद सकते हैं. The advertisement said it like this, that in 100 rupees you cannot buy 2 guava, but you can buy a cryptocurrency. I was like, there is some disaster happening. Everyone is running after crypto. No one knows crypto. What is crypto? Crypto is crypto. Everyone is running. No one knows what is there inside it, what has to be done, what has not to be done. So that is why this whole regulation, and everyone is now running for people who are talking about crypto. I don't know whether you know this, just for the sake of information I am sharing. A Canadian creator of a cryptocurrency, he was visiting India. As per God's wish, he died in his hotel room while staying in India. So that is one part. Now, this individual was creator of cryptocurrency. Now, crypto works on code, crypto works on passwords. So because this person was creating cryptos, so his crypto had some value. So I'm sharing that value of his crypto some 5 years back. $150 million US. I don't know its present value. Now, this person who died, unfortunate death, he had some creditors. Someone, he must have to pay. So the authorities went to his spouse in Canada and asked that, please share the details of crypto. Now, spouse of that person who died, she did not know the password. You know what she did? She brought that laptop in which the crypto was hidden. So that $150 million crypto is hidden in this laptop. He gave it to the authorities, told him, sir, you please break it. You get that crypto, pay to the creditors, give the balance to me. I don't know anything. 150 million crypto. So if you convert at, say, 75 rupees per dollar, it is more than 1,000 crores then. It must be 10,000 crores today. So that is, so impact of regulation when you talk of compliance. Okay. Now we are bringing these 3 words together: governance, risk, and compliance. So let us take definition. Yeah, now we have brought this together. The word exists independently, but from management perspective, you say GRC. So a governance objective will include compliance with applicable, say, standards. The risk would be non-compliance and resulting punitive action. Compliance has to ensure that system is correctly configured to ensure that applicable accounting standard is complied with. I've just taken a very simple example. Say, so we have talked of a lot now because someone did say about valuation. So I brought this example for inventory valuation. So before we go ahead, we have practicing members. So it's put here, compliance with applicable standard is a governance purpose. Both AS2 and Ind AS 2, para 5 and para 9 of Ind AS 2, both say inventory should be valued at lower of cost net realizable value. Now there is some conceptual difference between cost as per AS2 and means the core definitions, but for all practical purpose, they write the same sentence. What is the risk? Risk is valuation is not as per applicable standard. Impact can be both internal in terms of incorrect profit recognition, resulting in external impact. Say, suppose you are valuing inventory at a higher value, so you are disclosing higher profit. Higher profit, you pay higher taxes. Higher taxes, profit after tax, you distribute dividend. That dividend could be treated as dividend distributed out of capital. That is a non-allowed provision in Companies Act. company cannot distribute dividend out of capital. If it is done, that it can be recouped from the pocket of the directors who took the decision. So that is the impact. Now let us see how you have to see this thing happening in Tally. Here it is. So now the question to all of us. So these are the methods allowed. So Tally is a general purpose software. We are looking from compliance. So if we read at zero cost, that is not an option. Average cost is option. FIFO is option. FIFO perpetual you can take, and monthly average. One option I have skipped standard cost because that is an exception in AS2. But if you look to all the options, not all options are in compliance. That means you as a governance head, board of directors, you need to ensure that the valuation methodology selected in your system for costing purpose, here it is, costing method has to be as per AS2 first. Second, continuing the same illustration. Market valuation. What was the standard? Cost, NRV, whichever is less. So NRV has a definition in accounting standards. So there are 4 options. Zero price, that is not there. Average price, last sale price, standard price. So of these 4, I think average and last sale price would fit. So this is what the top management is supposed to see. See, the whole perspective changes. Now this doesn't remain an accountant's job. It becomes top management's job. That change is needed. Governance, risk, and compliance. Yes, thank you, Pandya. Now bringing the core topic to all of us, that is governance, risk. I brought risk management and compliance. So governance includes strategy, goals, objectives, policy, procedures, and processes. Now see, governance per se is a very larger word because we want it to be focused in terms of our application. As of now, our application is Tally itself. So we'll be more focused on policy, procedures, and processes. These are going to be built based on strategies. I've created example. We'll see how we are going to build from top to bottom. Then risk management, that includes identification, evaluation, management of risk, compliance, policy compliance, law regulation compliance, and compliance will do through establishing control activities. This includes, now see, this part, GRC framework. So there are international standards which illustrate GRC compliance. So this is only for knowledge right now, because today is going to be an introductory session on GRC. When we'll have a continuing session based on the feedback, then we'll upgrade this part also. I think Deepa has a question if Komal can respond in the chat. Komal, Abhishek, anyone? The only thing I know, Deepa, is that after 1 day, 2 day, all these sessions are uploaded on YouTube on Tally Solution channel. But then let Abhishek or Komal respond to in chat now.
Yes, it will be available, Atul sir.
Thank you, Abhishek. Yeah. Okay, so GRC framework. Now, please, the next 2 slides are the framework definition as per international standards. I'll take a small brief on those standards. So without those standards, you cannot discuss this GRC framework. So only for knowledge sake, I have brought it here. Take it as only information right now. As we build upon it, as we go ahead on it, then we can have more discussion. So governance, strategy, goals, objectives, policy, procedures, and processes. Now, this is a COBIT standard. COBIT has a full form. Control objectives for business and information related control objectives for business and information related technologies. It's a worldwide standard, governance standard for technology. We are looking at COBIT 2019, and upgrade COBIT 2020 is there. So this is how it defines GRC within COBIT. So it includes stakeholder valuation, the definition, the holistic approach to it, a dynamic governance system, upgrade changes, governance, and so management, like you have the promoters and executors. So segregation based on enterprise need and for end-to-end governance. So that is COBIT standard for governance framework. Then this ISO 27001, it's called as Information Security Management System Standard. This is also creates a governance outline just for knowledge, because without discussing this, it would have been not good to talk about GRC. So I brought this only for information. Do carry this name. Now, this is important. This I've taken through examples that now, because technology is part of all businesses. So when you say governance or enterprise governance, it has to be built into the information technology. So this new word has been created across the world, enterprise governance of information and technology. So these are the purposes, objectives for those things. The only issue is that of all these objectives, there is a possibility that most of the objectives will be policy driven. Not all policy can be incorporated in your system. So then there is always going to be the gap. That is the last line. So some gap is going to be there that management will have to make good. Then risk management, identification, evaluation, management of risk. This includes the concept of risk we have talked about a lot, the context, identification. I have shared this example. That was the basic purpose. Then I took this negative cash balance till the end so that we can have evaluation of it. Now, see, risk could, like, for example, okay, let me ask this question to you. Take it as a simple question. Try to give an answer to the question. Negative cash balance. So let us say this as NCB, and negative stock balance, NSB. Which you think has a greater risk, negative cash or negative stock? Which has greater risk? You select one. Negative cash balance or negative stock balance? Good. So see, very good. Now, suppose if I had added a context to it, that was established a context. For a manufacturing concern, for a trading concern, negative stock is going to be much more priority. But for a service industry, there is no concept of stock. For a service industry, cash would have been critical. That is the first negative, the establishing a context. Second, you have raised your hand. Please put your query in the chat box. So that is, you create a context. Based on that, evaluation, prioritization, response, how you respond to the risk through controls, through creating controls which will mitigate the risk and ensuring that risk mitigation is there. Monitoring, we have already taken example of backup. Backup policy is there, but backup are not being taken. That means monitoring is not there. So this is how things are so interrelated, and this is how they work together. Compliances, policy, law, regulation, control activities. Let us see. Policy, security policy, law, IT Act. For all of us today is Information Technology Act 2000 as amended in 2008. Law, Regulation, Companies Act. I've shared section from this Internal Financial Control, IFC. Then Information Technology Act. There are a few good sections. If you want to carry, please carry those. 43A. Any information you have of your client, it has to be secured. Then compliances include control activities, segregation of duty. Like in Tally, now you can create user rights, you can restrict user rights, so you can allow a cashier to create voucher, but you will restrict cashier, he or she cannot alter voucher. So that is segregation of duty. See, please understand, looking it from a very different perspective. So giving user rights, defining user rights creates a compliance in your system. Now, these are illustrations. I brought 2 or 3 illustrations for our understanding. Okay. So what I have created, a governance part, some description of that, then on the governance, the risk and compliance. Okay. So asset security, valid governance, yes. To have it, you need software security policy and password policy. Okay, good. So we agree. What is the risk? We don't keep our assets secured. Asset can be defalcated. Someone can carry away. If we don't have proper security or password policy, information can be modified or deleted. Agreed. What control activity you need to have? The owner of the asset and record keeper be different. That is control. Documentation of user action. In fact, Abhishek did discuss me, sir. We need to bring about the issue of audit trail. See, it comes here. That you have policy, but then you need to keep a monitoring of who is doing what. That is one. Illustration one. Illustration two. See, I have not changed the governance objective. Governance objective is same. I've changed the risk parameter. So same asset could have same governance framework, policy, procedure, identifies asset could have different set of risks. The next is sharing of password. Information modification, the risk is that if password is shared and someone does a disaster, someone passes an incorrect voucher, someone deletes an entry, then you cannot track the right person. How you ensure compliance? Training on not sharing password. And last one, I have a question for you. Implementing mandatory change of password over a period of time. Please answer it. It's a simple question. Is this possible in Tally? Can you have a mandatory change of password over a period of time? Say yes, no. Yes. You create a password policy. What we are learning from top, so it's possible. The implication is so high. You can do it in time. Yes, Pandian, you can define 30 days also. So option is there. When you configure password policy, this option is available to you. You can define that in Tally. Yes. Again, I've kept the asset same, the governance. Asset security backup policy, including frequency and strategy. This we very well discussed. What is the risk? Disaster, loss of data, closure of business. How you mitigate it? Compliances, ensure regular backup as per defined backup strategy. The question that I asked, that backup policy is there, backup is not being taken. So there is no tracking, monitoring. That is the risk. Validation, whether backup is being taken. Yes, if backup is being taken, you need to validate it. And last is very important. Please understand, this I intentionally brought. See, we all use Tally users, Tally practitioners. Now, we take backup that I have learned. This word I have brought here, recovery. Please understand, recovery means, see, when you are going to use backup, you are going to use backup when there is a disaster. So when there is a disaster, suppose your main computer is crashed, then you are going to use backup on a third-party computer, a third computer. Please understand the concept of recovery. Recovery testing has to be done. That means that whatever backup you have taken, you test that backup on a third system. Please understand. Recovery is you test that backup on a third system. That is recovery testing. Please do it. Let me ask this back to you. How many of you are actually doing it? Are you testing? Yes, consistency of backup. Great, Vinay. Thank you. Whether backup has been no, please, Atul, please do it. You got my word. This is very important. Must do it. Now, see, just imagine the thought process is so fundamentally redefined. Okay. Now we all understand that this is what is to be done. I'll share my very personal experience. So since last more than 20 years, we are using licensed Tally. I'm a practicing chartered accountant. I can say it openly online because we have been doing it. So once it happened that there was a virus that hit our office. So there are 4 PCs other than my laptop. So virus has hit. So we had to take backup. So now multiple PCs, then we are using auditor version of Tally. So it's quite back. So I asked my team member that what you do. So I'm just writing the steps I gave to my team member. Virus, so we decided to format. So I'm sharing the steps I shared. Let me complete my steps. It was phenomenal learning this one. Let me read the steps. So we had a very smart team member, Amit. He's in Pune itself now. So I told Amit that take backup of, we are talking of Tally only, yeah? Backup of Tally data from Com1, recover it on Com2. Once recovered, then format Com1, reinstall the backup data on Com1. If it is working, then go to Com2. Now, Amit did everything correctly. Perfect. Only one mistake he did. You know what was the mistake? Now in this roundabout, by the time he will come to Com4, he has to take backup and check it by running on Com1. Forget. And if you don't do things as defined, disaster happened. What Amit did, took the backup of Com4. He did not test it on Com1, formatted Com4, reinstalled the backup. उसने चलने से मना कर दिया. Backup did not install. That time, I'll not able to name online, but we were doing some big accounting for a very big company. And my office staff, Pratiksha is her name. She is a CA now. So Pratiksha had been doing that accounting and she was on the verge of crying, sir, ab nahi ho payega, ye to data gaya. So it happened by chance only, but I'm sharing it. So as I asked Pratiksha, what was your last voucher date? So it suppose this whole activity we are doing today. So today is say. So Pratiksha told she was doing previous year accounting. So she told me, so the last voucher date was this 15th February 2021. So what I did change the system date to 15th February 2021, reinstall the backup of Tally. It worked. Please understand, it's only a fluke. It's not a rule, but it worked. That day I learned that we must have clear-cut instructions and monitoring of instruction. The mistake I did was I gave instruction. My policy framework was correct, but my monitoring was poor. एक जगह गलती हुई, वही disaster. I learned it hard way. Always ensure that it is done this way only. Tally is partner for GRC. So this session I don't want to do with all of you. You're all smart users. This was basically configuration settings, going to Tally. Now you define Tally in terms of how it is going to ensure compliance. Say sales. So you don't sell beyond credit limits. You don't give credit beyond specified period. You don't give credit beyond specified amount. Your GST rates, your TDS rates, your selection of the section, the vendor masters, correctly made, rights allotted. All this is part of your GRC compliance. So that is, so I basically wanted to create this top-down approach to imagining Tally what can be done on a GRC framework. So that is what the session we had. Now we are sharp on time. We are on open house. So please ask any questions you have. These are my contact details. Tally I can do, but I understand, so you are good Tally users and you are good Tally practitioners. So I don't want to waste that time for something that you know. The thing that I wanted to change was the perspective to looking at those things. Yeah, please, it's open house. So open to all questions. Any questions?
Yeah, I think now people can raise their hands and we will allow them to speak.
Okay.
Sneha ji, you can talk.
Sneha, you want to say something?
Yeah. Hello, sir. Good evening.
Yeah.
Nothing, sir. How is useful for Tally, sir? Because this version has changed. No, how to you generate through those things, sir?
Okay. So now we'll Komal is there, Abhishek is there. We'll require one more session to share how you configure that in Tally. You got that is the question you are asking, Sneha. Now you want to configure this. Yes. So we'll require one full session, at least 2 hours, 3 hours, to go about that configuration setting. But okay, Sneha, because you have
when is it, sir? When is it?
We'll plan and let you know, Sneha. Probably next month.
Next month.
Yes.
Okay. Now it's today 22nd. So probably first week, huh?
Yeah, that Abhishek and Komal will tell you the exact date, but you can give a, like, because you're speaking. So the core idea of today's session was creating this awareness about this. So have we been able to successfully create that awareness level?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I see no further questions, sir.
Okay, yeah,
So I think we are ready to conclude our session. So
yeah.
just one more last note to audience. If you have any further question, please drop in Q&A. And for the people who have asked for the recording of the session, it will be available and mostly uploaded in our YouTube channel by tomorrow or day after.
Thank you. Thanks to all for attending. Shall we close it? Komal?
Yes. So before closing, one important thing, I need to thank you.
Thank you.
And it's an amazing session. The session was thoroughly very informative and actually very entertaining at the same time. So thank you so much, and thank you for taking out time from your very busy schedule. Thank you
Thanks a
all.
lot. Thank you. Thank you, all of you, for joining. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Kindly do send your feedbacks to Tally, all of you.